In a bustling city where the streets hummed with a constant rush and people were often too lost in their own worlds to notice each other, there was a little girl who moved with a quiet grace. Her name was Sarah. Though she was small, her heart was as big as the city itself. Sarah had a unique gift. She noticed the things everyone else ignored. A single fallen leaf dancing on the pavement. A timid stray cat seeking shelter. A carelessly discarded piece of trash on the ground. This city was a place where people left behind what they no longer wanted. Papers, bottles, and wrappers littered the streets and sidewalks as if the city belonged to no one at all. Sarah couldn't understand it. Why would grown-ups just throw things away? Why would they laugh and walk on when someone else bothered to pick up what they had dropped? One afternoon, she watched a man let a newspaper slip from his grasp. He didn't even break his stride. Sarah quietly bent down, picked up the paper, and walked it to the nearest bin. The man turned, a smirk on his face. "You're just a child," he said, his voice dismissive. "You can't change the world." Sarah looked up at him. Her eyes were calm, but her voice held a surprising firmness. "Perhaps I am small," she replied, "but even small hands can hold the world carefully. The city, of course." Moved on, cars sped by. People hurried along their paths. For a while, no one seemed to pay any attention to the small girl with the big heart. But Sarah didn't stop. She kept going, her daily routine a quiet protest against the city's indifference. She picked up papers, returned lost gloves, and offered a gentle word to the stray animals she found. When people mocked her, she simply continued her work, her actions speaking louder than any words ever could. Day by day, her persistence became a quiet, steady rhythm, a gentle drumbeat in the noisy chaos of the city. And slowly, almost imperceptibly at first, people started to notice. It began with small glances, then curious stares. One day, a young man, who had seen Sarah every morning on his way to work, stopped and picked up an empty bottle someone had left on a bench. Then, an older woman, who often watched from her window, came down and swept the litter from her storefront into a bin, offering Sarah a warm smile. Soon, other children, inspired by her example, started to join in. A small group at first, then more, all working together without a word, their shared purpose creating a silent, powerful bond. The streets began to look different. They felt different. They were cleaner, brighter, and somehow more alive. The city was waking up. Sarah never demanded respect or attention. She never raised her voice or tried to punish anyone for their carelessness. Her lesson was beautifully simple. Woven into every small act of kindness, she showed that responsibility isn't about having power or authority. She proved that kindness has nothing to do with age. And most importantly, she demonstrated that real, lasting change begins with a single action. Even when it feels like the whole world isn't watching, her story started to spread. Not through headlines or grand announcements, but through quiet conversations between neighbors. They spoke of the little girl who had taught them to see their city not as a dumping ground, but as a shared treasure, something to be cherished and protected together. In our own world today, it's so easy to look past the small things. We rush from one task to the next, we ignore the world around us, and we often discard things without a second thought. Sarah's story is a gentle but powerful reminder that our responsibility begins with simply paying attention. It shows us that true courage doesn't need a crown or a stage. It reminds us that every small act, every single choice to care, matters more than we can possibly imagine. One person with one small, consistent action can truly inspire a community. She teaches us that morality isn't some abstract law written in a book by someone else. It's a choice we make every single day, a choice to be aware, a choice to care. A choice to act with respect for the world we all share. Sarah didn't fight a war, she didn't lead an army or command an audience from a podium. She didn't write books or argue in courts. But with her own two hands and her unwavering heart, she changed her city. She proved that influence doesn't always have to roar to be heard. Sometimes it whispers as softly as a leaf falling gently into a bin. And yet, the ripple from that whisper can travel to the farthest corners of a city, touching every heart along the way. Her courage was a quiet strength. Her victory was a simple, clean street. And her lesson was beautifully clear. Even the smallest among us can inspire the greatest change. Even small hands can, indeed, hold the world carefully. Thank you so much for watching. If this story touched your heart, please consider subscribing for more content that celebrates the power of kindness and small actions. See you next time.